Greetings and welcome. My name is Jake Grayson. I'm a wildlife food forest garden designer. And sorry about the little glitchy live stream last time. I forgot I pressed the stream button, but now I am here. I wanted to talk about the Wildlife Oasis, a little project, little side project. It's a concept entry for a flower show. I've never done anything like that ever before, but I just wanted to try it out. I like the idea of it, so it's as much as an exercise for me, and it kind of informs some other design work that I'm doing for the walled garden. So it's really, really good. It's for the let me get the let me get up the application form. It's for the Belvoir Flower and Garden Show, which is in July, and it's sponsored by the London College of Garden Design. And the competition really is about designing a border. So it's kind of there's different borders and plant borders. So it's not really traditionally my thing, but what I wanted to do was to create. Let's get this up here. I've got the online notes. If you do want to have a look at them, notes.grwd.uk/Oasis. That's where the my online notes are. So I'm treating it like a client's kind of project, really. My idea is it's very much inspired by John Little for Grassroof Company and Barry Stewart at the Celtic Wild Flowers, and it's what an awful lot of what they're both doing in their different ways. John Little really kind of talks about, this is his website here. He talks an awful lot about creating habitat, creating a diversity of habitat. And Barry and Sandra at Celtic Wild Flowers, they do an awful lot of native plants. It's all about the native plants, native wild flowers originally, but a whole range. And I kind of I want the best of both worlds. I think if you're going to grow a garden, then you might as well grow a garden for wildlife. And it's an ecological. I think if you look at the garden as an ecological opportunity, that it's a chance not just to have the same of everything. The human intervention can have a benefit to wildlife, and I think this is a big. It's kind of overlooked. I'm not saying people have overlooked it in that there are an awful lot of wildlife gardeners, but with food forests and forest gardening, because a forest garden is by definition an ecosystem, and you're looking at encouraging diversity of wildlife, then it's a natural fit to start looking at creating a diversity of habitat, and then using a diversity of native plants, as well as growing food crops and other useful crops as well. So I think it's just kind of where it all starts to come together. So yeah, I think it's exciting. And the name for this, well, I actually haven't put the name in. I put the name in. The name of it is a wildlife oasis in a bordering a green desert, and that's the name of the project. And the whole idea is it's so many gardens, like not in towns, but so many gardens in the country specifically. And because I was really struck by how these beautiful displays, diverse range of different species and habitats and everything on the show, on the Belvoir show last from the photographs. But it's set in a green field and of grass, and there's more grass, and there's kind of like more grass. And it's a green desert. It's not too hot for wildlife. So if you're going to make a border that is stuffed, absolutely stuffed full of diversity of habitat and a diversity of native plants. So that's my essential thing. So I submitted it yesterday. We'll see how we go with it. And there's information there if you're interested. So I'll just have a quick look at the. This is the sketch that I did, and it is a concept sketch, right? It is really, really basic, but it's a start. And I'm not that. It's funny. I'm not that fussed about competitions, but I am fussed about getting ideas across and making what making a difference, making a positive difference to gardening and to people's lives. So I think it's important to do. So the basic structure for those, I did a little a sketch here just so you get an idea. There's a path that goes across. It's a hogging path, which is kind of made up of gravel, sand, and aggregate. It's a kind of naturally occurring mix. I'm kind of curious as to whether you can make your own hogging from local materials, but that's another story. There's a bench. John Little is big on gabions. These are the wire cages that you fill with stones, but you can also fill them with all sorts of crap and it tidies them all up. So if you've got rubble on site, it's a great place to put it, and it kind of tidies them up, and a good habitat as well. So the idea is to have gabion wall at the back. I think we'll see what happens. I was going to have just a stepped one on their side, and then a full wall on there, and so that's north to that end. And then the bench made a gabion, made a round wood inserted into two gabions, and so it's like a round wood gabion bench, and then a compacted aggregate here, woodland bed here, and using different types of aggregate. And again, I think I've actually emailed John Little about what species work in different aggregates, because I think this is his work is really exciting, because you're using material that is considered waste material, and it's kind of similar in some respects to forest gardening, because you want to create a blanket, you want to kind of create a low maintenance garden. Forest gardening is all about increasing the fertility because you're growing generally edible crops, whereas brownfield gardening is about using waste materials and creating a low nutrient garden so that it reduces the competition, so there's less maintenance. So both kind of go in the same way, low maintenance, but doing it from very different points of view. So with a forest garden, you've got a ground cover, a thick ground cover, and then you've got kind of easy to grow shrubs and easy to grow trees and shrubs and ground cover. So you get the area covered. Whereas in brownfield gardening, low nutrient, so the flowers don't have any competition. The native plants that you're using don't have any competition. Now, I know that I'm kind of big on native plants. I mean, I'm personally really interested in using native plants. Using native plants because they have co-evolved with wildlife and provide a food source for invertebrates. That's not to say you can't use non-natives. That's just to say that's my emphasis on it, and I'm not sure where John Little stands on this either. I think he does use non-natives. I'm sure he does use non-natives in his garden, but it's not like a hard and fast rule. But I think what is interesting is a combination that you have when you're designing a garden, when you're creating a garden. You can have a food forest, and you can have a diversity of different habitats and a diversity of native species. You can have it all. There's no reason why you can't. So the whole idea behind this is that for this space, you've got as many habitats as possible. So you've got the gabion walls at the back, step down the front, with wildflowers along the top, and the wildflowers are growing in different substrates at the top of each of the gabions. So you've got different species, kind of different emphasis for the species. So it's kind of, and it's echoing the different substrates which are on the ground, and they follow the curve of the path. And then you have, again, different habitat, different levels of grass. So you've got very short grass, which apparently certain bees prefer much kind of short grass. You have long grass, and you've got a kind of much longer grass. So you kind of keep it, you can have a mown area, but just mow it at different times. So you've got that diversity of habitat, and you're encouraging different species. And a little nod to tradition with a dahlia or something in the corner there. You've got a pond with native plants in it, and some cover, and then rubble, which kind of looks like it's breaking out from the wall, and then some sort of ground cover for cover for the wall, so that you're not just kind of bare. You're joining the pond up to the landscape. A native tree, hawthorn, ferns. Hawthorn's fantastic for wildlife, and then ferns behind, because they're kind of sheltered from the sun by the bench, and they get ferns in there, and then the woodland edge. Oh crikey, just a range of different woodland plants, and there's just so much. I haven't gone into species here really, because well, there wasn't really the time to do it, and also it depends on which substrates you're using, and I just kind of need to do more research on that. But there is a really good range of native plants that you can use. So like woodland edge stuff, foxgloves or crikey, primroses, or a whole range of different things that you can use. And then there's also a moss bed here, and this moss bed is inspired by Barry Stewart. When I went to see Barry down in last month, they had a moss bed. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's a range of different mosses, and it's on a sheet of plastic and a kind of little raised bed, and it looks beautiful and is really low maintenance, and so long as you kind of keep it damp, it's absolutely fine. So it's very, very excited about that as well. So that is just a load of different habitat. Oh, and then there's a deadwood sculpture down the bottom right, which is a set of logs, and they're kind of created in a spiral, and the idea is it's a bit like the spiral gets smaller, the logs get smaller as the spiral goes down, so you have a range of different sizes, and they decompose at different rates as well, with a big kind of centerpiece bit of deadwood. So that is my wildlife oasis bordering a green desert concept thing going on. There we go. Yeah, and I did the application in here. I sent that off, did a montage, and there we have it. Righty. I hope that's interesting. And if I am successful, I'll be kind of keeping this going and adding to it. And if I'm not successful, then this is just, I'll keep it here as a reference anyway, because I'm sure these ideas will come in. They'll come in useful in other places as well. Right. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Cheers. Bye. Whoopsie, let's just outro.